farmer Katie Sardinha manages a third-generation organic tree fruit orchard called Kaleidoscope Fruit Ranch. And she joins us now from Summerland, BC. So, Katie, $457 million is a lot of money. What goes through your mind as a farmer when you hear about such a significant loss?
I'm not surprised, but I'm glad that we're talking about it finally. It's basically my... I think there's two broad things that have been going on. One, of course, is climate change has been wreaking havoc. Our yields are going up and down, and we're dealing with crises all the time. The other main issue, which is something that we haven't been talking about, which is really surprising, is that we have a highly consolidated grocery retail sector in Canada. We have basically 5 companies that take up about 85% of the market, and that makes us, the vast majority of farmers, price takers. We don't have enough power to negotiate higher prices when our costs go up. And prices in our industry have been stagnant for about 40 years. My grandparents were making the same returns on their apples as I'm making today.
I mean, make this really personal for us. What are some of your own challenges as a farmer in BC?
Well, I mean, to some extent, because I'm a third-generation farmer, we already own my land, so I don't have debt. And so I don't have that crushing force on me. That is literally the only reason why I'm able to farm. Because in the 5 years that we've been officially Kaleidoscope Fruit Ranch, only one of those years did we even make enough money to be equivalent to if we had minimum wage jobs. We are not earning minimum wage as farmers. And my farm, while it's technically small, it's not a small farm. We're averaging 200,000 pounds a year. We're doing a lot of work. We're working all year and really earning no money. So like I am able to farm because I have the advantage of having land, but people who don't have those advantages cannot do that. A lot of us are getting second jobs, and it's increasing our workload. Burnout is a really big deal. On our farm, I did get a second job. I worked full time for 2 years, and burnout was a really big issue. I'm still dealing with it. Yeah. I mean, that's some of the things.
I mean, and let's talk about let's talk about, Katie, U.S. tariffs. What kind of impact do you foresee as a result of those tariffs from the U.S.?
So there's definitely upward pressure on prices of inputs and that sort of thing. We're going to see, the cost of farming go up. On the sales side, there's been some optimism that, people, if we continue to buy Canadian, that will actually benefit farmers a little bit. But I'm very skeptical it'll be enough because with this highly consolidated retail sector, we can only ask so much. We basically just get whatever price they give us. I'm not optimistic that it's going to make a difference for most of us. And a lot of us are struggling with nearly being bankrupt at this point, especially in the apple industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be some tough times ahead, as you obviously seem to be stepping into some kind of advocacy role. What types of support can the government at all levels provide for farmers like yourself?
Well, in Canada, we don't really have an explicit food policy. We don't prioritize food production over other uses of agricultural land. Of course, it's good to have many things done on agricultural land, but food isn't prioritized. I think that if we set targets on how much of our food we want to produce, I think it would force the government to change the way it funds things because we would go into prioritizing food production. And the other thing is that, I think that we need to focus on building the system we want from the ground up. So there's a lot of initiatives, and they're mostly farmer-driven, to form, nonprofit cooperatives that are able to give good returns to farmers while also keeping prices down for consumers. And those are awesome, but it's a lot of work, and they need a lot of support. We need Canadians to know that these exist and to support them. And then I kind of am inspired by the women's shelters movement, where when you look around the world and you see how women's shelters began, it's women who needed a thing. They came together, they collaborated. They created women's shelters with their allies, and then you prove that it works, and then you get government to help you afterward. And I think that to some extent, we can't wait for government to fix our problems. We do want to engage them and get them to help us, but we can't wait for it. We need to all do it ourselves. At the same time, I think there's a lot of promise that government, different parties can actually collaborate and work together on helping farmers, because this is an issue that touches everybody. And in the platforms of the different parties, there is not a great deal of difference between the parties in how they actually conceive of agriculture and talk about agriculture. So I'm really hopeful that we can have collaboration at the federal level.
Katie, appreciate you sharing your story and your passion with us tonight.
Thank you.